Okay, so in Doll's House, Henry Ibsen. First, we are going to discuss about the author Henry Ibsen. Henry Ibsen was born in 1828 and died in 1906. He was a Norwegian playwright and the harbinger of realistic drama theatre poet and a stage manager at the National Theatre in Bergen in 1851. So you don't need to remember all this stuff. Just have a knowledge when he's born, when he died. Okay. The director of the Norwegian Theatre at Christina University. He was also director of the Norwegian Theatre at Christina University during 1857 till 1862. His first play was Petilina. It was published in 1850, and other plays also as follow. First, The Wild Duck, 1884. Second, Ghost, 1881. Third, Little I Love, 1894. And fourth, When We Dead Awaken, 1890. Now come to the page number 82. Here also we are going to discuss about Henry Ibsen because today I am just only going to explain about this unit 8. So we can read it thoroughly. Okay. Henry Ibsen, he was a Norwegian writer, born in 1882, died in 1906. Popularly known for his two plays, A Doll's House and Hedda Gabler. Okay, Hedda Gabler was a play written by Henry Ibsen. Don't forget that. It was a very important play, and many people used to ask this question. Henry Ibsen became a literary hero for his realistic theme, questioning the social construct of his times. He had an affinity towards becoming an artist, as his mother painted, played the piano, even his hobby is to playing piano, and took him along to watch plays during his childhood. He wrote his first play, Caterina, followed by other plays, Brand, Fear Giant, The Pillars of Society, and many more. The Wild Duck, Ghost, Little Infold, When We Dead Awaken, these all are the plays written by Henry Ibsen. A Doll's House created history throughout Europe as it brought forth themes of women's struggle and identity through the character Nora. So in this play, there is a protagonist called Nora Helmer. She was a woman who used to listen to her husband deeply, means whatever her husband is saying, she used to listen her properly. But at the end of the play, she left her husband. I'll tell you why. So, and the second play, Hedda Gabler, Ibsen created one of the most notorious female character, popularly known as female Hamlet. Even today, his plays continue to challenge the audience because he tapped the human condition through the universal themes. So this is about the introduction of Henry Ibsen. Now let's read the historical and cultural background. Henry Ibsen wrote play in 1879. The Doll's House is written in 1879, depicting the similarity between the world of the play and the world Ibsen lived in. The play demonstrates the consistencies and tendencies of social class in the late 19th century Norway. So, as Ibsen was popular in an upper middle class family, he was vividly displayed the importance of social class and the expectations placed on its members. There was as upsurge in Norway's economic status that began in 1843 and lasted to 1875. An impact of its success evident because industrialization, foreign trades, and agriculture productivity came at that time. As a result, Norway created job opportunities, and the upper middle class family community grew larger. Hence, expectations about belonging to the upper middle class was forming that included financial success, no debts, good morals, and the stable patriarchy family. A woman's role was supposed to be created around the house, performing all the responsibilities towards its members, the husband and the child. So at the time of Henry Ibsen, the woman's role is to do her duties like taking care of children's, doing all house chores. I mean, women are not supposed to go out that time. Women are not supposed to do something without asking their husband. So it's duty of each and every woman at the time of Henry Ibsen to go and ask everything from the husbands. Okay, it was male patriarchy time. A woman's role was supposed to be the center around the house, performing her responsibilities towards its members, children, and family. Hence, the patriarchal structure is very evident in the play, where Nora is very dutiful wife. Means dutiful wife means she used to listen to her husband, and whatever her husband is saying, she has to listen to him in any cost. And Torvald was his husband's name. Torvald controlled the house and manages the monetary affairs. Monetary affairs means outside affairs. Ibsen put forth the stand of Nora that remained encourageous and towards the periphery in a male-centered world. So in the play, we are going to discuss what Nora committed led to the led to leave the house at the end of the play. So why she has to take that bold step? Nowadays, it's very easy for a woman to get divorced, to leave the house and go. But at the time of Henry Ibsen, at the time of 19th century, women are not supposed to do that. First, I'll discuss the play. A Doll's House, written by Henry Ibsen, years 1879. Naturalistic, realistic drama. Its major focuses on middle class family and morality. Psychological conflict, A Doll's House, Henry Ibsen. So, why the title A Doll's House given to this play? Because at that time, woman was treated as a doll. Whenever their husband wants to do the work she used to do. Otherwise, she's like a doll, taking care of house, doing nothing except listening to their husband at the background. An exclusively masculine society with laws written by men and the prosecutors and judges who regard feminine conduct from a masculine point of view. Page number 83. So the major characters of this play are Torvald Helmer, he was a lawyer, and Nora's husband, Nora, Torvald's wife. Third, Dr. Rand, he was a Torvald's close friend. Fourth, Niels Krostad, he was an antagonist of the play, a bank teller. He was the junior of Torvald Helmer in the bank. Okay. Then fifth, Mrs. Render, she's a friend of Nora, Nora's childhood friend. And the minor characters which we can see in the play is Ivar, Emil, and Bob. They are Helmer's children. Three children are there, Nora and Torvald Helmer's children, Ivar, Emmy, and Bob. Anne's Mary Kitzner and Helene. She was a maid in Nora's house. Now, plot. What was the rising action happened in the play? Nora's first conversation with Mrs. Lender, and the Krostad's visit and blackmail. We will read this later. First, we will go through with each and every act in the book. Open page number 83 and let's read Act 1. In Act 1, what happened? A Doll's House is a play written by Henry Ibsen, premierized in the year 1879. Remember that. A Doll's House written by Henry Ibsen in the year 1879. The action takes place in the lives of the Helmer. Helmer was the surname of Nora's Helmer and the Torvald Helmer family who lives in Norway. Torvald Helmer is a lawyer married to Nora with 3 children. Okay. It's not like, they both had 3 children after getting married to Nora. The play sets the important theme with its opening with the couple conversation about Christmas celebration and buying gifts. So play opens as 2 people are discussing couples. Couples means Nora and Torvald are discussing about their Christmas party, how they are going to buy the gifts, what celebration is going to happen in their family. Okay. Nora is excited that she can spend more money on the gifts this year as Torvald is receiving a promotion. So this time Nora was happy because when woman is taking care of the house and she's a housewife, she has to make sure that whatever the amount a man is earning, she should be divide in a proper way so that her household chorus will be done properly. With that, she can save and celebrate in the festivals time. So this time Nora is very excited to spend money on the gifts this year because Torvald is getting promotion. Torvald initially uh, char- uh, chastises her for being a spendthrift like her father, but later comes to terms with her as he loves her and calls her with a name like Squirrel and Skylar. So in the play, there was a conflict happened between Nora and Torvald, and in that conflict, Torvald told to Nora that you are like a father who used to spend money, who loves to spend money. Okay, and he even gave Nora a name like Squirrel, Skylark. Okay, Christine Linde. The Mrs. Linde's full name is Christine Linde. An old friend of Nora comes to meet Nora after many years. The two friends exchange talks about their family lives. So they both were having a conversation how their life is going on. Mrs. Linde describes her reasons for getting married many years before. She says that she had to take responsibility of her ailing mother and two younger brothers. So here Mrs. Linde was describing to Nora, because they both are having conversations, so she was describing to Nora that what was the reason for her to get married very early, because she has to take care of her ill mother and even she has to take care of her two younger brothers. And after her husband's demise, she has been looking for a consistent job to support herself. And later, after getting married, her husband also died. So now she has so much. She was like desperately want a job to take care of her mother and two brothers, younger brothers. Nora shares about Torvald's promotion as a bank manager and also about how he can be to help to Christine Linde to employ him. So here Nora was telling to Mrs. Linde, don't worry. No, first she told Mrs. Linde that my husband is getting promoted, and later Nora told to Mrs. Christine Linde that don't worry, I'll talk to my husband and maybe he can able to give you job in a bank. Okay. Nora also shares a secret to Christine about a loan she had to borrow for a trip to Italy when Torvald was sick because of heavy work. So here, because Nora was her childhood friend, so here Nora shares a very deep secret to Mrs. Linde that when Torvald was very sick, uh, she has to take loan from a bank for a trip to Italy because Torvald was very sick, ill, and she has to take Torvald to Italy and to cure him. So that's why she has to take a loan without Torvald permission, as I told you. And that time, a woman used to do every step after asking the husband. So here, Nora took a loan for Torvald only, but Torvald has no idea about it, and Nora doesn't want to tell Torvald. And even without telling to Torvald, she was repaying that loan and interest, and Torvald has no idea about it. Later, what happened? On the suggestions of the doctor, they go to South. The family lives in Italy for a year along with their newborn. So Nora lies to Torvald that she has borrowed the money from her father, who died shortly after that. In the play, when Torvald asked Nora that from where you took that much money to cure me. So here Nora told to Torvald that I took money from my father and now he's died after giving me money. However, she has been paying back, although it has been hard for her to save each month from Torvald's income. But for that, as I told you, Nora has to repay that loan taken from bank. So here she is taking care of the household chorus, plus she has to save money to repay that land. It was very difficult task for her for every month. Okay. The act also introduces, in the same act, there was a person introduces called Dr. Van. He was a family friend and also prostrates who works, and another character also introduced. His name was Niels Krogstad, who works under Torvald at the bank. As I told you, Torvald was a superior of Krogstad. Nora is upset to see Krogstad as he has come to talk to Nora about the money he loaned her. So what happened in the play? In the play, Niels Krogstad here, this person, Niels Krogstad. He was a blank clerk, but he is very lazy to do his work. He is unable to fulfill the requirement for the bank of his post. So now the bank told him to leave the bank, and Torvald Helmet was also with the bank. He agreed that Niels Krogstad should not stay in bank as he is not working anything for the bank, and he is very lazy kind of person. So here, Niels Krogstad, who knows about the Nora's loan, he started blackmailing Nora to go and talk to her husband that he should not fire me from the bank, otherwise I will tell him about the loan you took from bank. Okay, so we'll read it. Nora is upset to see Krogstad as he has come to talk to Nora about the money he loaned her. He is worried that if Torvald hires Christine, Krogstad might lose his job because of his bad reputation. He tries to convict against Nora by plotting out that if Krogstad's job is at stake, he would reveal to Torvald about the loan document where her father's signature was forged by Nora. He warns her of the fraud if she does not help him to keep it. Here, Miss Niels Krogstad was blackmailing Nora that I will go and tell to Torvald Helmet everything regarding your fake forged signature of your father, and also if he will fire me, I'll go and tell him. So it's better you go and talk to Torvald regarding my job. On seeing Krogstad leave their home, Torvald asked Nora if Krogstad was trying to seek help from Nora to save his job. So when he, in the same house, when Mrs. Linde and Nora were having a conversation, Krogstad came. He came and started talking to Nora, and Torvald saw them. And later, when Krogstad left the house, Torvald asked Nora what exactly means Krogstad was talking to you. Was he begging you to save his job? No, Torvald is angry that Nora agreed and says to her that often criminals are known to have mothers who lie and contaminate their children. This shakes Nora immensely. So when Nora go and when Nora went to Torvald Helmer and asked her that please don't fire Niels Krogstad. Here, after hearing this, Torvald became very angry, and he was like, "You are supporting a criminal." He was like, "Here you are supporting criminals, and and if you will support criminals, then our children will learn the same, and they will also become criminals, and you are very bad mother." So after hearing this, Nora was shattered, shakes. She was like, she wasn't expecting because from her point of view, she was fulfilling each and every duty of the Torvald Helga. She was taking care of him. She was taking care of her children. She was taking care of house. So even she took loan, and she even able to fulfill that loan with interest. So here, after hearing that kind of negative comment from Torvald, uh, Nora felt very bad. Now, Act 2. The second act begins with the messiness in her Helmer's house, indicating Christmas celebration has taken place. So in the second act, Christmas party was going on. Nora is restless and disturbed. Nora is still, she was very tense. Mrs. Linde enters and helps Nora mending the dress that Nora is going to wear for the dance. Here, Mrs. Linde came to Nora's place and she was like, "Go and get ready for the Christmas party." Nora shares with Linde the sickness of Dr. Rand. She tells Linda that Dr. Rank is inherited with a disease from his father, who was sexually promiscuous. Mrs. Linda suspects that Dr. Rank is a source of Nora's loan. Here, Dr. When Nora told Mrs. Lindy about Dr. Rank, who was another character of the story, so she was very tense after knowing that Dr. Rank is suffering from a disease. So, what Mrs. Lindy thought that Nora took loan from Dr. Rank. Okay, but Nora denies it. Nora was like, no, I didn't took loan from Dr. Rank. In the act, Nora again asked Torvald to save Krostad's job. In the same act, again Nora went to Torvald and asked him not to fire whom? Niels Krostad. Torvald is upset with Nora's insistence and in a fury sends a letter dismissing Krostad. And in the play, it's in the same act what Krostad did. Krostad wrote a letter to Torvald telling regarding everything what Nora did. Um, okay, Torvald exists when Dr. Rank entered and had a conversation with Nora. He is depressed about his health and tells Nora that he will die soon, that he does not want his best friend Torvald to see him in his bed. He also says that when his end is near, he will leave a calling card with a black cross across it to indicate his imminent death. Nora tries to be appealing and poetish towards Dr. Rank and attempts to convince him to intervene on Frosted's behalf. So here, Nora was dealing with two problems. First, she has to deal with Niels Krostad, who was blackmailing her, and second, Dr. Rank, who was a very close friend of Torvald and who is going to die. And he then told this to Torvald Helmut. Instead of telling to his best friend, he told to his best friend's wife. Okay. Dr. Rank admits, uh, um, and in the same act, what happened, Dr. Rank is attempt to convince him to intervene. In the same here, Nora wants to tell Dr. Rank about Neil Krostad, but before that, what happened? Dr. Rank, because he was going to die, he confessed to Nora that he has some feelings for Nora. Okay, disturbed at it, Nora withdraws and refuses to request anything, although he begs her to let him help her. So after when Nora got to know that Dr. Rank has feelings for her, so she decided not to tell Dr. Rank about Niels Krostad, and but somewhere Dr. Rank was pushing her to tell what problem she is dealing with. Dr. Rank has misinterpreted her affections for him. Later in the act, Nora was taking care of Dr. Rank and concerning about Dr. Rank as a as his husband's friend. Not she had any feelings for Dr. Rank, but Dr. Rank took in a very negative way, in a different angle. Later in the same act, what happened? Prosper enters and announces that he has been fired and warns Nora that only if Torvald promotes him to a better rank in the job, the conflict between him and Nora would get resolved. Here, in the same act, what happened? Prosper enters and announces that he has been fired. Prosper came in the Christmas party and he announced in front of everyone that I'm fired. And later he warns Nora that if you are not going to tell your husband to give me a very promoted job, then I will tell your husband everything regarding the loan you took from bank. Else he would reveal the secret to Torvald. Frostad drops a letter revealing Nora's secrets in the letterbox on his way out. So what Frostad did, he wrote a letter for Torvald regarding what Nora did. She's worried about the consequences and tells Linde that she had to forget the signature and the Torvald should not be made possible at the bank for the events that took place. At this time, she hints that something glorious is going to happen, not elaborating anything more. Mrs. Linders tells Nora that she will speak to Frosted about it so that the Helmers are not in trouble as she had a love affair with him before. So here, when Nora told to Mrs. Linde that uh, about finally Nora told to Mrs. Linde about Neil Crosted that this was a person who was blackmailing me and he was a junior of my husband and now he wrote a letter for my husband and if my husband got to know about this so he will be very disturbed and maybe he will be angry. So here, Mrs. Linde assures Nora that don't worry, I'll take care of Neil's Crosby because he was my ex-lover. Here, what happened? Later, Talbot enters and Nora prevents him from reading the mail and also makes him promise to help her prepare for the Tarantula that she is going to perform at the costume party. It was Tarantula was a dance, okay. Nora dances wildly and with exuberance, Mrs. Linde returns and tells Nora that Frosted had left town and will be back the following night, although she left a note for him. Nora thinks that she was 31 hours for herself. She has 31 hours for herself till the Tarantula ends. It is at this point that Nora is in a state of conflict. Torvald's statement of young criminals having mothers who lie and Dr. Rand's sickness that comes because of his father's promiscuity. Also, Nora refused to interact with her children. She is in the state of flux regarding her marital status. She thinks that she thoroughly fits into the societal norms and expectations of marriage, but it is not an ideal relationship. She also feels that her father's position is replaced by Torvald. It makes her realize that her life is still controlled by either the all member. Here, what happened? Uh, Nora was so much frustrated because on the one side, Niels Crosted was blackmailing. On the other side, she took help from Mrs. Linde, and she first Mrs. Linde assures that Niels Crosted will leave the city within 31 hours, but that she was uh, dealing with the problem of Dr. Van, and she could not able to control everything like she used to control before all this thing. She was thinking that she is in the house like she was in his father's house, controlling by a male member. So she was thinking that as my father used to control me in the childhood, not to go there, not to do this, not to do that, in the same way my husband used to control me. So this realization was happening in the act two, in the last of act two. Now, act three. This act opened with Mrs. Linde's interaction with Frostad. She admits that she withdrew from marrying him. Here, what happened? Act opened Mrs. Linde's interaction with Frostad. Before that, Mrs. Linde uh, to stop Niels Frostad, Mrs. Linde told to Frostad that I will marry you. Please don't give letter to her, and I'll take care of you, and I will earn. So you don't worry about your job. But in the Act 3, what happened? She admits and she withdrew from marriage. But she said no to Niels Crosted. She said she will not marry to Niels Crosted because she had to fetch to her mother, sick mother's need and also take care of her younger brother. She was like, I have responsibilities to do. I have to take care of my ill mother. I have to take care of my two younger brothers. So that is why I could not able to marry you. Hence, she had to marry Mr. Linde, who was rich but now regret of having ignored her heart. Here she's confessing everything to Niels Crosted, that why she left Niels Crosted and chose Mr. Linde, because Mr. Linde was a very rich guy. And she was thinking that with the help of Mr. Linde's money, she can able to take care of her mother and two younger brothers. So this Crosted is happy. Linde also tells him that the letter in Torvald's letter box that is still unread, but now she feels that Torvald must discover the truth about Nora. So here, Linde told to Crosted that the letter you wrote for Torvald is still not, I mean, still hidden, and Torvald didn't read that letter. It's better that Torvald should have the knowledge about the Nora's doing, what she is doing. After the dance and Nora and Torvald enter the scene, and Torvald teases and compliments Nora on her performance. Then Torvald leaves the room in search of a candle. Linda tells Nora that she has spoken to Crosstead and that Nora must tell everything to Torvald. Linda was before in the act two. What Linda was saying, Mrs. Linda was assuring to Nora, "Don't worry, I'll take care of Niels Crosstead." But in Act three, Linda was the only woman who was against Nora and who is deepest friend of Nora. She went to Nora and she told to Nora, "Hello, is it audible now?" In the act three, here, Mrs. Linde was against Nora because Mrs. Linde somewhere feels jealous of Nora because Nora has a very good family. She was have very good reputation in front of her husband. She was taking care of her house. Even there was a person called Dr. Anne who is in love with Nora. So here, Mrs. Linde was very jealous of Nora. So to take out that jealousy, she told to Nora that I spoke to Niels Crosstad, but he's not listening to me. You have to go and told everything to your husband. Nora is uncomfortable and tells him to stop watching her, but Torvald says that she is his prized possession and that he has every right to watch her. Here, Niels Crosstad was staring to Nora, and Nora was like, "Stop staring me." Niels Crosstad was like, how could I stop staring? You are my prize. I will get money from you." Torvald also says that when they are in public, he imagines her to be his secret financee and young bride and cherishes every moment when they look at each other. Dr. Wang entered and Nora and Grant speak in coded terms about the experiment that Dr. Wang was going to do on himself. Torvald is annoyed at Dr. Wang's behavior, but Nora understands that Dr. Wang has come to tell her that he is certain of his impending death. Torvald goes to check his mail and understands that someone has been tampering with his mailbox. Torvald finds two calling letters and with black crosses on them left by Dr. Rand. Nora explains Torvald that Dr. Rand has gone away to die. She insists that Torvald should read his letters, to which he resists initially. But here what happened? But Nora encourages him to open them, and when Torvald has gone to other room, Nora throws Torvald's cloak and shawl on herself to rush out of the house and never to return. So Torvald storms out of his study after reading Crossted's letters. Nora confesses the truth and admits that she had loved Torvald more than anything. So here, at the end of the play, Neil's Crosted letter uh, was in the hand of Torvald, and Torvald got to know about Nora, and now he's very angry, and he confronted Nora, and in that confrontation, what happened? And Nora admits that yes, I took a loan from bank, but all I did this because I love you, because you are the only person whom I love the most. It says that Crosted will stop. At this point, the maid entered with a letter from Nora from at this where I was. Okay. Torvald, but Nora becomes calm and sorry, I left the line. Nora confesses the truth and admits that she had loved Torvald more than anything. Okay. Torvald, in his infuriated tone, calls her a liar and hypocrite. So, Torvald was very angry and called her liar and hypocrite. Hypocrite means a person having two faces. Somewhere he's pretending to be a nice person, somewhere he was trying to be a very bad. So he blames her for ruining his life and putting his self-respect at stake at the mercy of prospect. So here, instead of being thankful to Nora that Nora saved her life, he was blaming Nora that because of you, my image is ruined, my self-respect is ruined, and I have to beg in front of Niels prospect not to tell this to anybody else. He does not want, after knowing this, Nora feels very disheartened. She decided she's going to leave the house, so he does not want Nora to leave and tell her that they shall pretend to live happily. Here Torvald was like, I'm not going to live with you now, but for the sake of society, I can pretend that we are still together and we are very happy couple, and you should live here. But Nora should no longer be able to see the children. But living in the same house, Nora is not allowed to meet her children. He will silence Prostate by paying him off. Even he gave money to Prostate and told him not to tell this about the loan stuff to anybody else. But Nora became calm as though strong, understanding the truth about her marriage. And at that time, Nora used to think that her marriage is like a fairy dream. So at this time, when Torvald told her to be in the house, not to leave the house, but you cannot meet your children, here her dream, her imagination shattered. Okay. At this point, Maid entered with a letter for Nora from Prostate again. Dorvat snatches the letter from her and reads the content. It says that Prostate will stop blackmailing Nora and he's sending the promissory note document. Dorvat burns the document and tells Nora that life can go smooth now as the bad dreams has ended. So after knowing that Niels Prostate was blackmailing Nora and he doesn't want to blackmail Nora anymore, and he was very sorry to blackmail Nora. Instead of saying, I mean, Torvald should say sorry now. But instead of saying sorry to Nora, he was like, whatever happened, it's happened. He burned the letter. He was like, now let's continue to live like before. Live our life like it was before. Okay. Torvald burns the document and tells Nora that life can go smooth now as the bad dream has ended. But Nora is very firm in her decision of leaving as Torvald has not understood the sanctity of their relationship. It made her feel guilty. Also, a relationship so vulnerable that can be shaken by someone's intervention. For all this, while Torvald has taken her for granted as an element of his life that tends to satisfy his needs, her coldness towards the end leaves him baffled and incredulous. Nora's decision is to move out from Torvald's life put the audience to question the very stand of women. So at that time, leaving a husband is a very big step. And when this play came in 19th century and Nora left the house, because at the last they were expecting that Nora will forgive Torvald and she will happily and she will start living with Torvald happily. But what happened? Nora left the house. So that's why everyone started questioning about this. Either as one continue to remain in the periphery as per society. So here the question came this play left two questions. Either a woman should live on the conditions of her uh, husband or and fulfill the society's expectations, or as to who seeks to be treated on par with the other gender, or else she should be treated equally, and she has right to treat it equally. So these two questions left with the end of this play. Now I'll tell you the major themes, plot. So what happened? Now you know the story. Let's read it. So rising action was Nora's first conversation with Mrs. Lender, Frosted visit and blackmailing of Nora, Frosted's delivery to the letter, and later exposes Nora. Climax, Torvald reads Frosted letter and erupts angrily. Now, falling action in the play is Nora's realization that Torvald is devoted not to her but the idea of her as someone who depends on him, her decision to be abandon him for find independence. The major themes of this play is roles and relationship between women and man, appearances versus reality, deception. Deception means dhoka, cheating, the individual versus society, money and materialism, morality, and the sacrificial role of women. In Victorian society, it was viewed that the woman should assume the role of martyr for the behalf of her husband. Martyr means a shadow, kind of shadow. In that, she should pretend she is happy, even if she is not, so that her husband need not worry about her, so that he will have a fragile but bubbling plaything. So, at the time of Victorian era, women used to sacrifice everything, sacrifice her needs, desire, even she has to pretend, even when when she's not happy, she has to pretend that she is happy. Importance of appearance is social brilliance. Socially, people, families especially must appear to be of the norm, happy, functional, and with proper gender roles intact. In Victorian society, divorce, especially with children involvement, was a moral sin. So that time, giving a divorce to someone, when a woman is giving a divorce to her husband, is a morally sin. Even the appearance of a rift between a husband and wife was seen as scandalous. Filial and parental obligations and roles. Men and women, as in Victorian society, have different roles when it comes to raising their children. Men generally take the backseat, having little interaction. Women, on the other hand, have plenty of contact, though they normally share their roles with a nurse. The blame of mothers for corruption of children would also come from their heightened interaction with their children. So, what at that time, if two people are living together, like husband and wife are living together, so husband has to take care of outside sphere, but woman has to take care of house chores, uh, how to maintain the house, how to do everything, even with children. And if children did something wrong, then the blame comes to mother's hand. What you are teaching, how you are dealing with that. This is what you are teaching to your children every time, every day, every 365 days you are at home. What you are teaching to your child. So whatever if children also commit any sin, any mistake, the blame comes to woman's shoulder. A bit about Henry Ibsen. He helped bring about at that time, after writing this novel, he helped him about evolutionary change in playwright. Previously, play have been romantic and artificial with little resemblance to the real life of people. With Ibsen, the drama becomes serious and realistic presentation of the psychological and social problem of the people. He attacked the hypocrisy of social convention and the selfishness of a self-satisfaction. Now we can go with this. Let me copy this. Okay. It was the same story of summary of that. So confusion. What was the confusion? Confusion is through a dollhouse summary, we learn that a successful marriage is amongst two equals. That in a marriage, a man and woman should be treated equally. No one is superior, no one is inferior in the marriage. It revolves around the ending of the marriage, which does not qualify for it as the inequity keeps getting greater and everything. Let's check our progress. Come to page number 83. Let's do the question answer because we still have 14 minutes. When was the play A Dollhouse written by Ibsen? 1879. Yeah, it was written in 1879. Who are the central character of the play? Nora Helmer, Torvald Helmer, Mrs. Linde. Okay, there are only two. Nora and Torvald are the two central characters of the play. What are the reasons for economic upsurge in Norway? Industrialization, foreign trade, agriculture are the reasons for good economic condition in Norway. Okay, remember that. Industrialization, foreign trade, agriculture. What were the expectations from the upper middle class society? The upper middle class society is supposed to have a good financial status without debts, a family, a stable family, a patriarchal family setup with good morals. Okay. What was a woman's position during Norway's prosperity? The woman's identity was one of inconsistency, limited to serving the family. But because women are not allowed to go out and earn money, so her identity was only limited in the house, serving the family, fulfilling the needs of family members. What is the conversation between Nora and Torvald at the beginning of the play? They were discussing about Christmas party. The play begins with a conversation between Torvald on spending money for Christmas party. Is Torvald happy about spending more for Christmas? Yes, because he was getting promoted. Okay, no. Still he was not happy because no, Torvald does not want Nora to spend more money because he taunted her by saying that you are just like your father who loves to spend money on silly stuff. Okay, why does Nora borrow the loan? Nora borrows loan to go to Italy as Torvald was sick. The trip was on advice of the doctor. Why has Crosted come to Nora? Crosted has come to Nora to pursue her to speak to Torvald. Crosted has come to Nora to pursue her to speak to Torvald to save his job. Why does Torvald want to terminate Crosted from his job? Why? Reason. Torvald wants to terminate Crosted because of his bad record of forgery. Forgery means cheating and fraud in the bank. He used to do cheating and he used to take money from the bank. So that's why he does, and that's why Torvald does not want Crosted to stay in the bank anymore. Who is Torvald going to recruit in place of Crosted? Mrs. Lende. Crosted wants to recruit Mrs. Lende in place of Crosted. Why is Torvald angry toward the end of the act? Torvald is angry toward the end of the act because Nora insisted on retaining Crosted in the bank because Nora was requesting her not to fire Crosted. Now page number 84. Check your progress number 3. What is Dr. Rank suffering from? Sexual disease, some kind of sexual promiscuity. It was came from his father. Sorry. How does Dr. Rank want to indicate his death? Dr. Rank says that he will leave a calling with a black cross in the letter box. If you will get a letter and in that it was a black cross, that means he's going to die. So this was the indication given by Dr. Rank that he is going to die. Why does Nora prevent Torvald from reading the letter of Crosted dropped? Nora became extremely fearful about the consequence if Torvald get to know the reality of the loaned amount. What if Torvald's statement on young criminals? Torvald's statement that young criminals have mothers who lie, a reflection of immorality in the family. So he was like, children are criminals nowadays because their mother used to lie. How does Nora perform at the costume party? Good. Nora performed voluntarily and expressively at the Tarantula dance. Now, last, check your progress number 4. What is the relationship between Mrs. Lente and Crosted? They were going to get married. Crosted was okay. Mrs. Lente and Crosted were old-time lovers. Why does Mrs. Lende want to come into a relationship with Crosted now? Mrs. Lende want to help the Helmer's family by talking to Crosted. But she was just pretending to help Nora. Why is Nora ready to go out? Nora is afraid of the consequences that might take after Torvald reads the letter from Crosted. What is Torvald's reaction after reading the letter by Crosted? He is infuriated, very angry, calls her a liar, and abuses Nora for ruining his life. Why doesn't Torvald want Nora to leave? Torvald behaves like a typical upper middle class man who wants to fit into the societal expectations and tells Nora that they can pretend to be a very good, loving couple in front of society, but inside the house, she has no rights on him and she cannot meet her children as well. So why is Nora calm as Torvald accuses her? Nora is calm as Torvald accuses her because she tries to understand the vulnerability of her relationship. What letter does the maid bring towards the end of the play? The maid gets a letter from Crosted stating that He shall stop blackmailing and bothering Nora further. He also returns the forged promissory note. Okay, so this was the play of Hendrickson, A Doll's House. In the next class, we are going to discuss about the introduction of to American drama, Unit 9. Still, we have time, 9 minutes. Anyone has any questions regarding this? Okay, let's read page number 89, Introduction to American Drama. Historical and cultural background. What is termed colonial period in American history extends from 1607 to 1765. During these years, the literary output in America was negligible. Negligible. Sorry. Survival was the first and most vital issues for the pioneer settlers. They had to fight against the ravages of okay. I'll explain this American drama in a very good way. Let's go back to modern drama again. We had left the check number for the come to page number 78. Check your progress number 5. How does Higgins decided to test Eliza? Higgins wants to test Eliza at the party that Mrs. Higgins is hosting. Okay. What does Higgins assure to his mother? Higgins assures that Eliza's behavior would be controlled and her conversation would not go beyond inquiries of health and welfare. How does Eliza behave when she talks to Freddie? Eliza comes back to her Cockney accent eventually when she talks to Freddie. What is Mrs. Higgins' reaction to what happened in the party? Mrs. Higgins is angry with her son and warns him that he cannot use her for his selfish purpose. What does Mrs. Higgins wants Higgins? What does Mrs. Higgins wants Higgins? She wants her son that Eliza cannot earn a living after she is transformed into a genteel woman. Now check your progress number 6 on the same page. How do the two experts behave in the beginning of the act? They are very happy and joyful. What is Eliza's reaction to the behavior of Higgins and Pickering? Eliza is very angry at their behavior because they don't bother to acknowledge her. How does Eliza feels about herself now? Eliza feels that she is not going for anything with her changed personality. Why does she feel like that? Eliza feels exploited and also that her transformation cannot give her any income. Why she came to Higgins? She came to Higgins because she wants to learn the new accent because she wants to do job in a flower shop. But now she's thinking that after transforming from a flower girl, of a roadside flower girl to a lady, she cannot go and get job anywhere. So that's why she's saying that her life is exploited. Now page number 79. Check your progress number 7. How does Higgins appear when the act opens? He was taking a note taker. Higgins appear as lost as though he was lost as a toy. What does Eliza decide for herself? Eliza decides that she will leave Higgins and move on. Whom does Eliza declare to marry? Freddie. Very simple, because Freddie was the only person who's making her feel cozy, and in front of Freddie, she used to come back to her Cockney accent, which she used to have at the time of selling cars when she was in the roadside. So in front of Freddie, she can be herself. She can survive. She can breathe properly. She was feeling alive in front of Freddie. So that's why she wants to marry Freddie. What is Mr. Doolittle plan in the act? Mr. Doolittle is going to get married. Okay. What does Higgins feel for Eliza? Higgins feels that there is something missing in her life without Eliza. So in the period of 6 months, when Higgins decided to change Eliza, from a flower woman to a lady. Uh, she has a habit of Eliza. So generally he started generating feelings for Eliza. So now when Eliza decided to meet Higgins, he was feeling something is missing in his life. So this is all about G.B. Shaw's Pygmalion and also Henry Ibsen's A Doll's House. That's all for today. Let's find out. Tomorrow, okay, next week we are going to discuss Introduction to American Drama plus Unit 10, Arthur Miller, Death of Salesman.